We will be inviting up Mark Clayton. Now, Mark has over 7 years of experience in thermal modeling, passive design, and sustainable value engineering for master plans, large-scale mixed-use developments, right down to individual houses. So has breadth of experience across many different scales. More recently, he has been consulting on building air infiltration for large commercial projects. Having built and lived in high-performing buildings, he has first-hand knowledge of what economical improvements deliver, resulting in comfortable and healthy buildings. He is also an owner-occupier. So please welcome Mark up to the stage.
Thanks so much, Dan. Hi there, everybody. Yeah, so this is my first slide. So basically what I'm going to talk about today is a project which, it's our second project. We moved in about 6 months ago, and we opened the first project for a sustainable house over the last few years. So I think we'll just give you the first slide. So this is basically what we bought. I was searching the internet in February last year, and this building came up for sale, and I thought this would be a great thing to buy. We could build something cool here. And what really, I guess, attracted me to the block was the fact that it's the worst orientated block you can get. Basically because it's on a small north access. You enter from the north. We've got a massive western facade, which is fantastic for sustainable building. And the first house that we built, the Emily Street project, had fantastic northern aspect. And a lot of people said, yeah, but it's really easy to build a sustainable house. You've got the ideal block. So I was like, okay, park that. So I saw this on the Wednesday, went to auction on the Saturday, we bought it, and this is what we had. It was an old fibro place. It's about 100 years old, as you can see. Not particularly fantastic architectural merit. And unfortunately, you know, as much as I love to try and keep old buildings, this one had pretty much passed. So we knocked it over. The challenge was, can we build a sustainable house on a relatively good budget that will heat and cool itself on the worst orientated block, just so that when clients of mine come up to me and say, you can't build sustainable houses on this block, I can turn around and say, well, you kind of can. Here's the worst orientated block, let's go have a look. So if we jump to the next slide. So we're in a conservation area, so we had to make it kind of look old, which was fine. So we took the traditional 30 degree pitch roof, 8.2 stars. I know Lachlan was saying it's not all about the stars, and I probably agree with him to some degree, but the stars are certainly something which you've got to live within. We had deciduous trees on the western side, and we've got the courtyard here. We've got a deciduous vine. So when we started sort of thinking about how we're going to design this building, we went to the basics. Let's put the wet areas and the areas we're not going to use to the west. Let's put bedrooms to the east. That takes up a certain percentage of the block. Let's see what's left. Of course, because north is up the page, or to the right as you're looking at it, we obviously had to pop the roof there on the living area, which is, I guess, the main area where you spend most of your time. Build took about 7 months. We're owner builders. It was considerably challenging than the first build. And I think that was possibly because of the site, and secondly because of the design. So here's I guess the main living area. Plenty of thermal mass, which is really important. One of the challenging parts of this block, I guess, was trying to get northern glazing northern light into the building, because obviously in front of the building we've got a carport, the cars, the bedrooms, and the main part of the building, which means we had to pop the roof, as you can see there on the top photo. That's 4.6 to the inside, which is pretty high. A lot of people thought we were building two-story, which we weren't. We did actually use Sept, which I know Lachlan's had a pretty difficult situation based on what he just said. And this is our second build with Sept, and I've got to actually say the opposite. It's been an absolute dream. We used a company out of WA, which we used before. You basically send off your files, your 3D model, and they cut every single panel to size, and off you go. And we basically got all the external walls up in about 4 days, which was awesome. Those brick walls that you can see are actually limestone from Cape Jaffa. It's reverse brick veneer, basically just adding to the thermal mass of the slab in that area. The wall is 3.2, which is pretty high insulated. And we actually went over the top with the roof. We not only put R6 at roofing level, we actually thought, let's put a roof blanket in, and that's more about to mitigate condensation issues, which is becoming more and more apparent in the built form here in Australia. Looking at, I guess, indoor air quality, no VOC paints, sealers, that kind of stuff, because it's actually quite important to enjoy the space you're in. And let's face it, you go and build a building and then let's paint it with toxic paints, and then we go move into that building. I'm not entirely sure that's such a great idea. And then the general sort of stuff, LED lighting. I mean, nowadays that's pretty much part of the course, which is great. And the only mechanical cooling is the ceiling fans. As we got further on into the build, it had to get around to the point of building a carport. Now, the original plans for the carport was, let's just build a traditional carport. We'll put roof battens in, we'll put it in tin, then we'll put solar panels on the top. And I got to thinking, well, that sounds really, really cool. And then, of course, I jumped on Google, because everyone does, and I was just like, how about cool solar panels? And this image came up from a company, from a guy in New Zealand who'd built a veranda, or at least an eave, out of solar panels. So I was just like, well, that sounds really, really cool. So Tom, who's here in the audience somewhere, there he is there, he's a mate of mine. I said, Tom, I want to build this carport out of solar panels. And he's like, are you kidding? I'm like, no. He's like, can we do it? He's like, yes. I think he was a bit hesitant, but nevertheless, he turned up on a Saturday, and this is the solar panel. So we went with the 6.2 kilowatts. It's running east-west. It has to kind of run east-west because we're on a north facade, and that's how the roof lines, we want to mix the roof lines in. But believe it or not, we installed it in April. We produced 3 times what we're using at the moment, which I think is pretty cool going through winter. 2 days ago, I checked it. We produced 25 kilowatts, and we're only using 4. So it's a massively massive positive building. Okay, so this is basically, because I'm into thermal modeling and stuff, I can pull the information out of the software. What we've got here is the blue line is a typical outdoor temperature from the software modeling. There is a red line, which is the predicted indoor temperature, and then the yellow line is what's actually happening in the building. I've got 3 data loggers throughout the building, in the main living area, and so on. As you can see, it's tracking pretty good through the winter. The spikes that you can see in the yellow is the nights that we have the wood heater on, just to basically make our own personal comfort a little bit more. Obviously, the software assumes personal comfort. We want a little bit more. So this is what it ended up looking like. Again, the bottom side and the right-hand side, you can see that sort of heritage kind of feel about it, but a bit of a modern take on it, I guess. And then we've got the carport and so on. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're opening from 10 till 4, so come and say hello if you've got time. Thank you very much.